Growing up with cameras, one thing I've learned about using 70 to 200 zooms is you shouldn't shoot stuff up close with them, because they don't focus very near and you'll look very stupid if you try. I've tried. The new f2.8 G Master version 2 did change that by having a close focusing 70mm lens, and today the new f4G version 2 has the word macro in its name. Not very traditional for a 70 to 200 because this version 2 right here is really more of a complete redesign than an update. The boldest change in hardware is perhaps the fact that the version 2 no longer zooms internally. The lens barrel now extends as you zoom in, so at the 200mm setting it does exceed the version 1 in physical length, but at the short end it is more compact than the Mark 1. Same 72mm filters, it weighs ever so slightly less than the version 1, although honestly speaking, not really in a noticeable way. The hood is now petal-shaped instead of circular, and unlike the Mark II for the G Master f2.8, the f4G Mark II does not get a dedicated iris ring. It does, however, get an updated design for the tripod collar, specifically the way it doesn't look like the lens is missing a body part once you remove it. The default expectation for a version 2 lens is a huge increase in image quality. Well, there really isn't a stark difference in resolution, just slightly better contrast overall. Now though, if we continue pixel peeping, however, using all the glorious 61 million pixels on the 7R5, we'd be missing the point. This time, the optics have been reworked, not mainly for image quality, but for utility. As an appetizer, we're seeing improvements like focus breathing being reduced by a huge margin compared to its predecessor. We'll also not forget how Sony's painstakingly elongated its model badge to fit the word macro into it. And it's not a gimmick, because this lens has a half life-size magnification that's 0.5 times macro throughout its entire zoom range. At 70mm, you can focus on a subject just inches away from the front elements that's just out of reach of the lens hood. The working distance does increase as you zoom in, but the maximum magnification remains the same. It's a degree of versatility which feels unreal on a 70 to 200. You can photograph something from a distance, but also walk right up against it to pick out extremely intricate details. I think the magic behind this unreal feeling is how that red zone, that first few meters in front of you when using a 70 to 200, that immediate area where subjects are unphotographable, that mental barrier is completely removed. For many years, we've been conditioned that when you put on that 70 to 200 lens, your target could only be distant subjects. And with this, that logic has been completely defied. But it gets even better. This can be converted into a true 1:1 macro lens with a little help from a 2x teleconverter. Once you put one of these on, you'll then be holding onto a 140 to 400mm f8 true macro zoom lens. Admittedly, this is a combo that demands quite a bit of light. We are throwing together a mix of fast shutter speeds, narrow apertures, and light loss at high magnifications. But that is an option which you did not have on the version 1. The old version was not even compatible with teleconverters at all, like it wouldn't physically fit even if you tried. So being able to access that long end of 400mm will have its benefits beyond just true macro. It is a versatility value add for a single 70 to 200, now perhaps making it viable even for some light birding. Again, what this lens offers isn't a choice between only long range or only macro, it's everything in between. You're not likely to find yourself having insufficient reach with this, nor will you get that heart-sinking feeling when you've just framed up on a subject just to realize it's slightly too close for your lens to focus on. And speaking of focus, this Mark II will again be superior. It's now driven by 4 XD linear motors, 2 for each of the 2 focusing groups. Manual focus response is also now linear, which wasn't on the original f4G. You've also got an additional macro range option for your focus limiters for times when you're really using this just for macro work. I find it quite startling that it's actually been 9 years since this original 70 to 200 f4G. Almost a decade later, we've got a new lens, which on the surface is still unsuspectingly a 70-200 f4, but optically, it's actually broken the mold and made the 70-200 as a lens more versatile in a way which I thought might never come true. So next time you come across some guy right up against their subject with a white telephoto zoom lens, maybe they're not so stupid after all.